Hi and welcome to this video. I am Laura, my channel and my page is Mindfully Laura, and this is all about the 101 of manifesting. So first of all, I want to say that if you are skeptical about manifesting, totally understand, and I was once too, and I'm not going to get into today all of the different arguments about manifesting. I do want to call out, I'm extremely privileged. I'm a white woman. I'm English speaking. I'm able-bodied. I'm cisgendered. I'm straight. So there's in so many ways, the universe is stacked in my favor in the society that we live in. Having said that, I've seen a huge difference in my life from using these principles, and these principles, I include mindfulness and this more active manifesting kind of process that I'm going to quickly go over. And yeah, I've seen a huge difference in my life in both how I feel about my life and how I feel about my future, and also the physical, like what I'm receiving and how I'm calling in the things around me. So I want to do this video and just kind of give you a 101 of how I manifest. And yeah, if you like it, let me know. So there are 6 steps, and we've only got a few minutes, so I'm just going to dive into it, and let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about any specific part. First part, really important, you have to give yourself permission to dream. So when I first started this, if you'd have asked me like, well, what do you really want? My dreams would have been like quite tame, because I think many of us are not given permission in society to really think big and to really dream. So the first step is really to give yourself permission, and getting quiet with yourself, sitting with yourself can be really useful. And so I'm going to link in the comments, or point you in the comments to some visualization practices that I use to kind of start with a blank slate, and then allow your brain and your subconscious mind to say, this is truly what I want. This is what I see for myself. So the first step, you have to give yourself permission. The second step is about seeing it to believe it. And so what I mean by this is, you really, for me, I have to put myself in the place of when the manifestation has come through on a subconscious level. So let's say I want to manifest my new car, as I did this year. It's not just seeing the picture of the car on my manifestation board, but it's imagining myself sitting in the car. How is that going to feel? What am I wearing? What am I hearing? What am I touching? What am I smelling? What am I sensing? So we can use this idea of this 5 senses reality here to really allow ourselves to bring that future into our experience now and really imagine it. And this is really important, because actually our brains don't know the difference between, I mean, they probably do know the difference, but there's a lot of similarities between our brain's activity when we imagine ourselves doing something and when we actually do something. There's all these really cool science studies. One of my favorites is playing scales on the piano. One group is just imagining playing the scales. The other group is actually practicing the scales over a certain amount of time. Both groups saw an increase in dexterity of the fingers and more motion in the fingers and that kind of thing. One group was just imagining. They weren't even moving their fingers, and yet their bodies responded as if they were doing the thing. And yeah, our brain and our mind is just part of our body. I could talk for hours about this piece, but visualization is so, so important. And it's, yeah, got to be that 5 senses reality. So once you've done this, you'll be able to do the next step, which is defining the energy of this envisioned future. So for me in the car, the question was, well, what is that energy? And for me, it was freedom. For me, it was abundance. For me, it was kind of like about going places, like movement or forward motion. And so what I needed to do then was to bring that energy into my life today. And so what we're doing here is we're really seeing ourselves as vibrational beings. You know, we are, yes, we're made up of skin and bones and all the rest of it, but at our core level, we're made up of particles, of atoms that are moving. So we are all just energy, just like this table, just like me, just like the ability for you to see me is all energy. And so what we need to do is enable our energy vibrationally to match the energy of what we're calling in. So in my case, it was this idea of freedom, forward momentum, of abundance. And if you're feeling skeptical about us being vibrational beings, totally get it. It's okay. And so just a question, have you ever walked into a meeting room and, or not even necessarily a work thing, walked into a room or even a virtual room and been able to sense something? Maybe something was just said or something happened before. You didn't know it, but you sensed the energy shift. And so if you are skeptical about this, I invite you just to kind of look for ways or places in your life where you do have an awareness of energetics and energy at play, because when we get curious about this, it can be kind of mind-blowing. So we define the energy and then we find ways to match that energy now. So for me, with the car example, it was not staying in my house, saying, well, I can't go anywhere because I don't have a car. It was going out on my bike. It was borrowing my partner's car. It was doing things that got me in that place of freedom, of abundance, of forward movement. Okay, the next step is to make room. And so I'm going to just talk about this one very briefly, but it is really about making sure that you don't have parts of your life that are blocking the thing that you want coming through. And so again, it's about the energetics. If you want the energy, for instance, of abundance or of prosperity, it's looking for places in your life where you don't feel abundant. And for me, this was as simple as not feeling abundant every day when I put my socks on because they had holes in. And so making room involved me getting rid of those socks. And so we could go very deep into this, but that is it on a basic level. Audit your life and see where you may need to make room. The next one is all about passing tests. So this is definitely something we need to do in more detail, but a test is basically something that is getting in the way of that manifestation coming through. So it usually comes off you've done quite a bit of the deciding what you want and visualizing and telling people about it and figuring out the energy that you're pulling in. You will start getting tested. And a test could be either a limiting belief or a saboteur from within yourself. So that is something inside of you saying, oh, well, if this thing comes true, or if you do this thing, then something bad's going to happen, or you need to be small, or you need to play it safe. Or it can come from someone in your environment, maybe challenging you or making you feel a certain way that's taking you away from your manifestation. And the reason that this is so important is the universe is basically saying to us, are you sure you want this? Because if you want this, you are going to have to up level. Because when you get the thing that you want to call in, there's going to be more challenges there. And I feel like it's so important to realize that it's not cruel that you're getting these opportunities to grow and change. It's actually the universe kind of preparing you for that up leveling. And so the very last step is the most important and probably the hardest, and that is surrender. We have to surrender, trust that it's coming through. And my perfect example of this was my puppy that I was manifesting. I was checking Pet Finder every day for 2 months trying to find my puppy. I was getting further and further away from the energy of playfulness, even though I was really trying to get back into that energy. I couldn't stop being so graspy. I then went away for 2 weeks I went away for a week. The week we got engaged, and the day we were coming back, I happened to go on Pet Finder. Oh no, I didn't. I went on Facebook, and one of the shelters I actually went on Facebook because it was my birthday, and I was reading my messages and I saw a post from a shelter saying they had this puppy, and we went and got it the next day, and she's incredible. So that, I think, really showed me and reminded me of the power of surrender and how sometimes the only thing getting in our way is ourselves. So I'm going to leave it there for today, but let me know if this is useful. If you want to go through it in any more detail, I'm definitely here to support you. So thank you so much for listening.